My fiancée emptied our wedding fund her parents gave us for her bachelorette trip to Vegas. I sent her a single text, "Have fun." Then I informed her parents, changed the locks, and canceled the wedding. Now she is getting disowned. I, 30 male, am, or I guess was, engaged to Rachel, 28. We were supposed to get married in 3 months. I thought everything was perfect. We've been together for 4 years, living together for 2. Her parents, Alexander and Catherine, are genuinely wonderful people. Salt of the earth. They were so happy for us that they gave us an incredibly generous gift. $40,000 to fund the entire wedding. Their only condition was that we use it responsibly to build a beautiful day and not go into debt. To keep things clean and trackable, we put the money into a new high-yield savings account. Since my credit union offered a better rate, the account was in my name, but she had a debit card linked to it specifically for wedding deposits. We'd sit down together, agree on a vendor, and she'd make the payment. It was a system built on trust. This morning I woke up at 6 a.m. to a string of emails from my credit union. Large transaction notification. My stomach lurched. The first one I opened was a charge for $18,500. Vendor, the Bellagio, Las Vegas. My mind couldn't process it. I thought it had to be fraud. I scrambled to log in to my banking app, my hands shaking so badly I messed up my password twice. When I finally got in, the world tilted. The balance was $15.72. It wasn't just one charge, it was a massacre. A series of large pending transactions had hit overnight. $18,500, the Bellagio Hotel and Casino, posted 2 days ago, likely for a suite. $8,200, Wynn Nightlife, posted yesterday, VIP table service. $7,850, Chanel, posted yesterday. $4,300, Louis Vuitton, posted yesterday. A series of smaller charges for restaurants and bars. And one final one, a $500 cash withdrawal from a casino ATM. A total of $39,950 was gone or pending, stolen. My first reaction wasn't calm, it was pure primal panic. I stumbled out of bed and dry heaved into the bathroom sink, my heart hammering against my ribs. My mind was a frantic storm of questions. Fraud? Was she kidnapped? Did someone steal her card? I was about to call the police, then the bank's fraud line, when a notification popped up on my phone. A picture was posted in the group chat with her bridesmaids. It was Rachel, my Rachel, grinning and holding up a brand new bright pink Chanel handbag. She was wearing sunglasses indoors, flanked by her 4 friends who were all raising champagne glasses. In the background, the opulent lobby of a Vegas hotel. Her friend Deborah had captioned it, "Vegas, baby, Rachel's last." She was supposed to be at a spa weekend, 2 hours away. A quiet, relaxing affair. The panic evaporated, replaced by something that felt like ice water filling my veins. The pieces didn't just click into place. They slammed together with the force of a car crash. The Chanel bag in the photo was probably the $7,850 charge. The hotel lobby was the $18,500 charge. This wasn't fraud. This was a choice. The shaking in my hands stopped. The nausea subsided. A strange, cold clarity took over. I looked around our apartment. Our photos on the wall, the save-the-date card stuck to the fridge. The future we were supposed to build with that money, a gift from her own parents, had been liquidated for VIP tables and luxury leather goods. I picked up my phone. I scrolled to her contact. I didn't scream, I didn't rage, I just typed 2 words, "Have fun." Then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. The next hour was a blur of efficiency. Locksmith. Called and scheduled an emergency lock change for all 3 locks on our apartment door. He's coming in an hour. Vendors. I pulled up our wedding spreadsheet. I started with the biggest deposits. The venue, $10,000, non-refundable. The caterer, $5,000, non-refundable. The photographer, $3,500, non-refundable. I called every single one and canceled. I ate the cost of the deposits we'd already paid from our personal savings. It was a sickening blow, but it was final. The parents. This was the hardest call. I dialed Catherine's number. She answered cheerfully. "Patrick, how are my favorite lovebirds?" I took a deep breath. "Catherine, I have to tell you something, and there's no easy way to say it." I explained it all, calmly, factually. I told her about the bank account, the charges, the Vegas picture. I could hear Alexander get on the extension. There was a long, stunned silence. "Are you sure?" Catherine finally whispered. "Maybe her card was cloned?" The photo shows her holding a new Chanel bag, Catherine, I said, my voice flat. It was posted by her friend an hour ago. I heard a sharp intake of breath. Alexander's voice came on the line, low and tight. Patrick, let us talk to her. We'll call you back. Just sit tight. Don't do anything rash. I told them it was too late, that I'd already started canceling the wedding. There was another heavy silence. I understand, Alexander said finally. We are so sorry. We'll handle this. Now I'm just sitting here. The locksmith just left. The wedding is gone. The woman I was going to marry is 2,000 miles away, living it up on the ashes of our future. I've packed a small bag of her immediate essentials, toiletries, a few changes of clothes, her laptop. It's sitting by the new, unfamiliar locks. I feel hollow, not even angry anymore, just empty. She blew up our whole life, and I dismantled the rest of it in under an hour. And the worst part is, she doesn't even know it yet. Update 1, the bomb went off, and the fallout has been biblical. It started yesterday afternoon. My phone, which had been blissfully quiet, erupted. A tsunami of texts and missed calls from Rachel and her friends. Rachel, TF Patrick, my tea isn't working. This isn't funny. Are you seriously giving me the silent treatment? I'm standing outside our apartment. Pick up your phone, you childish jerk. My card got declined for a coffee at the airport, and I had to borrow money from Deborah for the taxi here. You better have a good explanation for this. The sheer, unadulterated entitlement was breathtaking. Not a single "I'm sorry" or "we need to talk." Just rage that her tea didn't work, and her access to the money she'd already spent was gone. The irony of being mad about a declined coffee after dropping $39 on nonsense was apparently lost on her. I didn't reply. Then came the banging on the door. It went on for 20 minutes before she finally gave up, and I heard her sobbing theatrically on the phone. The real fireworks started when her parents arrived. I got a text from Alexander. We're 5 minutes out. Is she still there? I told them she was. They pulled up just as Rachel was gearing up for another round of screaming at my door. I watched from the peephole. Catherine got out of the car, her face like stone. Alexander looked like he'd aged 10 years. Rachel, get in the car, Alexander said, his voice dangerously calm. Dad, what are you doing here? Patrick locked me out. He's being a psycho, she shrieked, pointing at my door. He didn't have to, Catherine said, her voice trembling with anger. We saw the bank statement, Rachel. The hotel, the purses. We saw it all. The color drained from Rachel's face. It was a mistake. The trip got a little out of hand. It's just money. We can pay it back. With what, Rachel? Alexander snapped. Your job at the boutique? That might cover the interest in about, 200 years. We gave you that money for a wedding, for a start, and you spat in our faces. You spat in his. He gestured to my door. Now get in the car before you embarrass yourself and us any further. She got in the car. It was the first time I'd ever seen her look truly small. About an hour later, Alexander called me. He apologized profusely. He said Rachel's story was that she deserved a nice trip and that everyone does it. She genuinely believed that she was entitled to the money and that I and they were overreacting. He told me they had laid out the terms. She is to move into their basement. She will get a second job. Every single penny she earns that isn't for bare necessities will go to them until the $40,000 repaid. They've taken her car keys and her credit cards. Then came the smear campaign, led by Deborah. A long, vague Instagram story about escaping a controlling relationship and how sometimes you need to celebrate your freedom even if small-minded people don't get it. My DMs became a cesspool of their friends calling me every name in the book. It's weird. It doesn't even bother me. I spent today boxing up the rest of her things. Every item was a ghost. The dress for the rehearsal dinner. The stupid Mrs. Adams mug. I didn't get sad. I just felt detached. I packed it all. 32 boxes. They are stacked against the wall. Alexander is coming with a U-Haul tomorrow. He told me on the phone, his voice heavy, Patrick, we will make this right with you on the deposits. I give you my word. It might take me a week or so to move things around, but you won't lose a penny because of what she did. I appreciated that more than an instant check. It felt real. Update 2. I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. The last 2 weeks have been an education in just how deep entitlement runs when it's enabled by a pack of fools. Alexander came for her things as planned. It was somber. Last week, a cashier's check for $18,500 arrived in the mail as promised. The memo line just said, "Our apologies." I thought that would be the end of it. Clean break. Then the dirty trick started. Rachel's first move, likely coached by Deborah, was to try and force her way back in. I got a knock on my door. It was a police officer. Rachel was standing behind him, trying to look like a damsel in distress. Her story was that I'd had a sudden, psychotic break, locked her out illegally, and she was scared for her property. My calm, methodical approach paid off. I invited the officer in. I showed him the lease, solely in my name. I showed him the bank statement, printed out, with the vaguest charges highlighted. I showed him the Instagram photo. The officer's face went from neutral to annoyed. He turned to Rachel. "Ma'am, this is a domestic dispute, not an illegal eviction. You need to handle this through civil channels." Her face crumpled. The performance was over. When that failed, they got a lawyer. Or rather, Deborah's father, who is a lawyer. I received a formal, threatening letter. It was craftier than I expected. It didn't mention the IKEA furniture. It claimed that because we were engaged and cohabitating for 2 years, a domestic partnership had been formed. It alleged that I had summarily and cruelly ended the relationship, causing her significant emotional and financial distress. It demanded a one-time settlement of $50,000 for her to re-establish her life, and in consideration for the emotional damages incurred. It was a naked cash grab disguised in legalese. This was her checkmate, she thought. I forwarded the letter to Alexander. He called me within minutes, mortified. "Patrick, I swear I didn't know. This is Deborah's father. He's an ambulance chaser." This is where my own revenge became more active. I didn't want a long, drawn-out fight. I wanted it over, so I drafted an email to her lawyer. It was polite, professional, and brutal. Subject: Demand letter on behalf of Rachel. Dear Mr. Laname, I am in receipt of your letter dated date. Your client's claim of a domestic partnership requiring a settlement is noted. However, it seems to omit several key facts. Attached you will find 1. A bank statement showing your client spending $39,950 from a wedding fund gifted by her parents on a non-sanctioned luxury trip. 2. A sworn affidavit from her parents, Alexander and Catherine, confirming the money was a gift for a wedding, that your client was not a contributor to the funds, and that they are holding her financially responsible for the full amount. 3. Screenshots of social media posts where your client and her friends brag about the extravagant spending. Your client's financial and emotional distress was not caused by me, but by the consequences of her own fraudulent actions. The only party who has incurred damages here is me, via the lost non-refundable deposits, for which her parents have graciously compensated me. Any attempt to pursue this frivolous claim will be met with a countersuit for harassment. Furthermore, I will file a formal complaint against you at the State Bar for knowingly supporting a meritless case built on a fraudulent premise. I am confident that a judge would be very interested to learn how you advised your client to proceed after being presented with this evidence. This matter is now closed, I CC'd Alexander. I haven't heard a single thing back. The silence is deafening. Final update. It's been half a year. I'm posting this one last time because people have been asking for a final resolution, and I think I finally have one. The legal threat worked. Alexander later told me he had a very direct conversation with Deborah's father, who subsequently dropped Rachel as a client, citing a conflict of interest. The matter was closed. Life returned to a strange new normal. The apartment felt huge and quiet for a while. I sold the couch we bought together and got a new one. It felt symbolic. One by one, I erased the we and made the space mine again. I didn't hear from Rachel directly at all. My number is still blocked. The social media smear campaign died down when their attacks got no reaction. Apparently, it's not fun trying to burn down the life of someone who refuses to acknowledge the fire. I got the full story in bits and pieces from Alexander, who still calls once a month to check in. Rachel's last ride was an implosion of epic proportions. The friendship with Deborah ended in a screaming match over who was to blame. Rachel's parents held firm. She lasted 2 months in their basement before she couldn't stand the rules. No car, a strict budget, a second job at a diner, and stormed out. She's now living with 2 roommates in a cramped apartment an hour away. working as a waitress and, from what Alexander hears, drowning in credit card debt from trying to maintain a lifestyle she can't afford. She has made zero effort to pay her parents back. Their relationship is, in Alexander's words, non-existent. They haven't disowned her on paper, but they've emotionally disowned the person she became. It's a quiet, heartbreaking tragedy for them. And me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay. I took the $18,500 from Alexander and the money I'd saved for the honeymoon, and I went traveling by myself for 6 weeks. It was the reset I needed. It washed away the last of the bitterness. The real revenge, I've learned, isn't some grand, vindictive plot. It's just living well. It's my peace. It's my financial stability. It's the fact that my life moved forward while hers imploded under the weight of her own choices. I didn't have to ruin her. She did all the work herself. I did have one final surreal encounter. Last week I was at a coffee shop downtown, and she walked in. She didn't see me. She looked tired. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by a simple, worn-out jacket. She looked like just another person trying to get through her day. She ordered a black coffee and fumbled with crumpled bills from her pocket. She wasn't a monster. She wasn't a villain from a movie. She was just a woman who made a series of spectacularly selfish choices and was now living with the mundane, grinding consequences. I watched her for a moment, and instead of anger, I felt a faint, distant pity. Then I finished my coffee and walked out. I didn't look back. I still have one artifact from that whole mess. Tucked away in my filing cabinet is the original bank statement. It doesn't show simple cash withdrawals. It shows the $40,000 deposit from Alexander and Catherine, a beacon of hope. And right below it, the itemized list of luxuries. The Bellagio, Wynn Nightlife, Chanel, Louis Vuitton. It's a reminder that character is what you do when you think you have a consequence-free credit card. And a reminder that sometimes the most satisfying justice isn't a fiery explosion, but the cold, hard, silent math of a bank statement.